Welcome to Wellness Warriors, a podcast addressing the root causes of illness and their natural solutions. And now your hosts of Wellness Warriors, Dr. Justin Lane and Michele Schroeder.
Well, hello, Wellness Warriors.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Michele. How you doing? Dr. Justin Lane, how are you doing today?
Doing outstanding. How about yourself?
It is so good to see you guys. Two of my favorite Wellness Warriors. Oh, my gosh. Hey, I want to kick things off right away. I've got a question for you. I know today's topic, we're going to be talking a little bit about some mysterious symptoms that are puzzling doctors. I know a lot of times, a lot of folks may have the situation, I know I have, where I've gone to a doctor and I've got some pain somewhere, and the doctor goes, we ran all the tests and you're perfectly fine. That'll be $500. So yeah. I know that you guys are familiar with that. Do you have some experience in working with folks and maybe having some puzzling symptoms like that?
Absolutely. That's probably most of our folks, unless they're looking for natural medicine, and some of our clients are. But a lot of folks are just frustrated with not getting answers or communicated to, or just treating symptoms. And if they can get into the doctor, it's usually a merry-go-round with medication. This symptom, this medication, and on and on. So by the time they come to us, they're usually pretty tired of that. It's not working. They're frustrated, and they're wanting to get some real answers and some resolution to things.
So why are the doctors not able to give them real answers to their chronic problems? Michele, do you have some insight onto that?
Yeah, yesterday I talked to a woman, and she was literally crying on the phone. She went to her neurologist, who sent her to her dermatologist. Then she went to her dermatologist, who sent her to her primary care physician. And I've heard this over and over again, that doctors are so trained to look at one system or one aspect of the body and manage symptoms from that perspective, that if someone comes in with multiple symptoms that are affecting across the body different ways, and the doctor doesn't have a medication or an answer directly for that, it's send them off to somebody else. And for people who are having chronic health problems, it becomes extremely frustrating, brings people to tears. They can't get answers. They're taking medications and not feeling better. And the truth of the matter is, it's not that doctors are intentionally doing this. It's just the way that our medical system is made, and they're trained to look at a specific set of parts of the body instead of looking at it from a more holistic aspect.
I know that you guys are really, really passionate about this. And so, Michele, let's start with you since we're talking to you already. Give us a little bit more background about you, who you are, what you do, and what makes you so passionate and driven to help people with these types of situations.
Yeah, I'm a national board certified health and wellness coach, and I have other certifications that help me become a better coach. But the reason I'm passionate about this is in 2011, I was diagnosed with lupus. I had been having symptoms for a good 5 to 10 years prior to being diagnosed, and I too was passed around between dermatologist, primary care physician, gastroenterologist. I was very fatigued. I wasn't recovering from exercise very well. I had a lot of anxiety. My digestion was a complete mess. And all I got told was, you have a loud stomach. But nobody ever emphasized how important my digestion was or gave me any kind of tools to work with that would help me. So eventually I got the diagnosis of lupus, and I have an aunt that had been diagnosed 3 years earlier than me, and she was not doing well. She had gone the typical Western route. She was on all kinds of medications. The side effects were horrible for her. And at that point in time, I just decided I am going to find a natural solution to help me manage what is going on. Some of the things that I decided to do, one of them was I decided to get off gluten, for example, which helped my digestion improve quite a bit. And I actually had a primary care physician tell me, I said to him, my anxiety and my digestion are a lot better by going gluten-free. And I'd already managed to do it for over a year, And he still told me not to worry about it and I should just take a medication because it would be a lot less stressful. And so even in the midst of getting results from something I had chosen to do, I still had doctors poo-pooing the idea that that's what would help me.
Wow. So wait a minute. I need to understand this. So you had lupus and the doctor said, oh, you have a loud stomach. They didn't even try to disguise it with a fake Latin medical term like laudibus stomachus or something.
No.
They just said, take this pill, or we don't know what it is, or, let's send her down to Dr. So-and-so who works with laudibus stomachus or something. That's horrible.
Yeah, I have to say that in the last, 12 years, 14 years, whatever, there's been a lot more research done, and many doctors are becoming more aware of some of the symptoms that come from, autoimmune. But at the time, I don't think, my primary care physician told me that he would be the laughing stock of his colleagues if he admitted that going gluten-free may have helped with my anxiety. Now, I think there's a lot of people that would understand why that would be a good response to being gluten-free, but he did not understand it. And he didn't, he told me he couldn't even say it without professional colleagues scoffing at him.
Isn't there, Dr. Lane, you'll know better about this than me, but isn't there a line in the doctor's oath that says, do no harm? It doesn't say, don't do anything that will make your colleagues laugh at you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it seems to me that a doctor's responsibility, if he or she knows the correct treatment for a specific condition, should do or proffer advice that does no harm, not that doesn't make them look silly with the other doctors.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit more about you, Dr. Lane.
Yeah, so I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. And in practice, we blend Chinese and Asian medicine acupuncture with what's called functional medicine, which is holistic, root cause focused. So it's the 21st century Eastern medicine, if you will. If the ancient Chinese doctors had access to labs and the things that we do today, they would be using them. So we're blending the best of East and West, but we're really trying to get to the root cause. And in that process, help people become the CEO of their own health and learn and educate people. So my journey really came as a youngster. I probably went to an acupuncturist when I was 11 or 12 the first time. My mother was a massage therapist growing up, still is. And so we always went natural first. And so if I got a cold or a flu, we went to the acupuncturist and got herbs and acupuncture. And if that didn't work, if it was more acute, then we would go to the primary care and get antibiotics if we needed it. But tried to avoid those whenever possible. And so that really helped me heal from allergies and asthma as a youngster growing up. And then later in life, discovered I had ulcerative colitis, again on a journey similar to Michele, where realized I couldn't get prices of anything because I was a self-pay patient. I didn't have health insurance, and trying to get prices, it's like the climbing the Great Wall of China or something. It's completely just almost impossible. So on my own journey, I found out that I had a couple of autoimmune conditions, and that's really what led me to this world because it's the only thing that's helped me, and in this approach in particular. The drugs help with some of the flare-ups and symptoms, but they never really get to anything that causes anything. So
why is it that you think that the current medical system is designed to treat symptoms, but not really the root cause of the situation?
Well, I mean, doctors are working for insurance companies and pharmaceuticals for the most part. They're not working for clients anymore. It's just become more dramatic. So doctors have, very little time. If you see the doctor anymore, it's usually a PA, a physician's assistant. You get maybe 5 minutes. There's a CPT code they can build for that, and there's another CPT code they can bill for a procedure, maybe a cortisone injection, for example. So it's more profitable to treat symptoms and use drugs and medications and procedures and surgeries than it is to actually, there's no money in the cure, so to speak.
So it's a money thing.
Yes, among other things, absolutely.
Oh,
yes, definitely.
Well,
Definitely
surprise. Now, Michele, isn't there something with a stage 2 autoimmune disease or something that you see people that work with that?
Yeah, that would just be somebody who has mild to moderate symptoms, but they haven't been able to get a diagnosis yet. If they were to come to somebody like Dr. Lane at a functional clinic,
Yeah.
he would be able to run a few tests that would let them know if they have antibodies toward any of the tissues of their body. For example, thyroid. And they may not already have severe tissue damage to that part of their body, but they might have antibodies showing up, because we know that sometimes for 5 to 10 years prior to actual tissue damage that can be diagnosed by a medical doctor into an autoimmune condition, we know that there is antibodies that are happening toward those tissues and causing so that's what stage 2 autoimmune is. You don't know you have an autoimmune disease technically yet, but you have antibodies toward those tissues.
That's a perfect example of when someone goes to a primary care physician with symptoms of low thyroid, which are fatigue and brain fog and maybe feeling anxious or depressed or gaining weight or feeling cold or losing their hair or their eyebrows. That's what gets them to the doctor, right? We go to the doctor with symptoms. Doctor only runs what they tell you. We're going to check your thyroid. What that means is we're going to check 1 or 2 of 9 or 10 markers of your thyroid. It's enough to diagnose and prescribe the medication. Most folks with autoimmune thyroid, myself included, it's because of an autoimmune disease attacking the thyroid gland over time, which allows it to fail eventually. And that's when people go to the doctor and get diagnosed as low thyroid, and they get the medication, but they don't know anything about what's causing it.
So how do you determine that? I want to back up just for a second. You mentioned the term functional clinic. How is that different than like a regular clinic that people might perceive?
Yeah, so we're going beyond the symptoms. Symptoms are important, but we want to dig deeper to get to the cause of those symptoms. So when we say functional, that's really what we're talking about. Is it's root cause, it's holistic in nature. We're always looking for non-pharmaceutical approaches first.
Right.
Sometimes, and to be fair, if your thyroid's been destroyed, you're probably going to need to be on some medication because you need thyroid hormone. And if you can't make it, usually you'll take it because it's that important. But we want to get people's best function, meaning we want them to achieve their goals. We want them to live their best life despite having an autoimmune condition, for example. So that's just allowing and teaching people what's driving their autoimmune condition, what's making it worse. These are normally lifestyle factors that we have some control over. And so that's what we're really about.
Yeah.
Michele?
And as a health coach, I'm totally focused on lifestyle to improve the processes of the body. So imagine if you take your car because you've got a warning light going off, and you took it into the shop and you said to the mechanic, just shut that darn thing off. I don't worry about fixing it. I just don't want to see that warning light anymore. I compare that to the difference between like what you're doing at the medical doctor. You're shutting off a symptom, you're managing a symptom, so you'll tentatively feel a little bit better, but you haven't like fixed the underlying condition or the process in the body that's not functioning up to par that's causing your body to be out of balance. And so with health coaching, I like to focus first on nutrition because it's a good bang for your buck. It's really important, but also things like stress management, sleep, and things like that just are huge for putting your body back in balance and improving processes.
So it seems to me that one of the things that you guys do that I think sets you apart from like regular medical practitioners, with the functional clinic, you guys seem to actually spend a little more time with your patients. I know with a lot of doctors, you've got 3 minutes with the doctor, blah, blah, and then some lady or other guy comes in, they take notes, and the next thing you know, it's like, okay, your 10 minutes is up. Next, and they ring a bell, and here's your cookie, and off you go.
That's pretty much the deal. So we start usually with the blood review with a lot of our clients, and we're doing more in-depth blood work. So when people say, "Hey, my doctor just did my labs," I usually know what that means. It means that they're incomplete, they're not comprehensive, and they don't allow us to really understand how your body's functioning. They're enough to diagnose and prescribe a medication, typically.
Once again, the old prescribed medication.
That's right.
Cha-ching.
Keep it simple, right?
So it's not really focused on treating the problem. It's treating the symptom
Right.
so
Right.
we can make our house payment.
Right. So I spend 90 minutes with my clients in their blood review, and I usually ask, our clients, like, when was the last time you had 90 minutes with your doctor? And there's a blank stare, because usually it's never, or it's a shake of the head, really. But so that time's well spent, because we want to help people understand how their body's working, what's going well. It's not always bad news, by the way. There's good things going on, and then there's things that we need to focus more time and energy on. And that's what we try to help people understand, and what they have in terms of their own control is pretty significant, actually.
Wow.
So
You mentioned something earlier that I really liked, and that was you help people to become the CEO of their own health. Explain to me a little bit more about that. Michele, can you help us out with that?
Yeah. One of the things that is amazing about our bodies is the innate ability that it has to heal. If we give our bodies the right resources, our bodies know what to do. And when we're the CEO of our own health, what we're doing is we're knowing the things that trigger poor health, and we're making sure that our lifestyle lines up in such a way that we're not doing anything against our own health. And then we're also our own best advocates. So nobody cares about my health as much as I do. My doctor that I go to isn't going to care, really, after I leave that office, whether or not I comply to the prescription or whether or not I get better or not. He's just going to wait until I come back in there and scream some more about needing something else. But if we care about our own health, it means we need to make sure that we understand what is going on with it. We understand the things that affect it, especially when it comes to the things that are in our control, like Dr. Lane just said.
Yeah.
Doing what is within our control and changing our mindset on that, and actually providing space in our life to actually make things happen that are good in our lives. And I'm just going to give an example. I was just talking to a client already this morning, and we're talking about prioritizing time to actually plan for good food. Because, sometimes we live in a easy to grab it place, and we don't prioritize how to take care of ourselves. But when we become the CEO of our health, we understand what we need to do, and we take the time and effort that it needs to be taken to actually make it work. Yeah. And my experience is it does work. I'm free of medication and have been for 10 years. And I'm managing an autoimmune condition without any medication. And yes, if I get too far off on my lifestyle, I might have a flare-up. But at least I know how to come back to what my body needs.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that if I'm the CEO of my own health, you mean I actually have to take responsibility for my own life and just can't do what the doctor tells me? Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
I'm going to have to reevaluate everything. I think as a non-doctor person, and I think most people, we have this great reverence and respect for doctors. And if the doctor says, you should take this, you should do this, a lot of us just go by blind faith and go, well, okay, that's what the doctor says, and that's what I'm going to do. And what you're saying is that even though we've got a wonderful doctor sitting here, sometimes we need to question what the doctor says, because it's my body. And if I have a disagreement or if I have a question, I have the right to do that. Dr. Lane, how do you feel about that?
Oh, absolutely. I love working with people who ask questions, who are thinking critically, who want to know why, who are empowered. Those are the best clients. They're curious, motivated, and willing to make changes and take action. That's really what it's about, is just taking consistent action. It's building good habits. A lot of us maybe spend a lot of our lives building habits in our career for making money, for example, and then later in life, we're trying to figure out how to get our health back, right? So it's habits, just like anything else that you're successful at in your life. It's how are you preparing yourself? What are the steps you're taking?
You made some really good points today, especially about, since I'm the CEO of my own health, my own body, and Michele, you were talking about the foods and stuff we eat. I want to give a little teaser for our next Wellness Warriors podcast. We're going to be talking a little bit more about using food as medicine and how we can really capitalize upon that to make sure that we're living a strong and a healthy lifestyle to the best of our abilities. In the meantime, though, if someone has questions, they'd like to get a hold of you. In addition to simply clicking the website URL in the notes of the podcast here, how can they get a hold of you if they have questions or schedule a free consultation?
Yeah, so they can certainly call us or text us. So we're at 435-246-7642. Or like you said, you can get us through social media as well.
Okay.
We are on. We do have a YouTube channel, Elemental Natural Medicine YouTube, and Facebook and Instagram. So
Cool.
we're on those avenues as well.
Great. Michelle, how about you? Same thing?
Best place to go is kmichelleschroeder.com and click on Discover. What is it?
Discovery call.
Book a session.
Book a session.
And
yeah.
it's going to be a free session to just go over the things that potentially are triggering your poor health
Great.
and design a plan forward.
Perfect. And I know you've got the podcasts all on your website there, so that's cool. Well, folks, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Any final words of wisdom before we head on down the trail?
I don't think so. I just mainly think we love to work with people who are motivated and willing to make changes. That's how this approach helps you get your health back. So
Great.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Thank you so much. We'll see you guys again next time with another exciting installment of the Wellness Warriors.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome.
This has been Wellness Warriors, giving people the knowledge to have a healthy and vibrant life. For more information, elementalnaturalmedicine.com and kmichelleschroeder.com. We invite you to join us next time for another edition of Wellness Warriors.